We're going to quickly go over some of the scenarios that we have in place, and these scenarios are going to be common questions and common concerns that we see that appear when creating roles and customizations. Our next scenario is going to be, can we allow a clerk to make entries in the system pending administrator approval? Of course we can. What we're going to do is navigate over to our Manage Roles. And then within Manage Roles, we're going to go ahead and go to Employee Management. And what we're going to do is we're going to select it under our Manager, because we always like tinkering with the Manager. Within our Manager area, we can see that they are already granted Employee Management. However, just for the sake of this scenario, let's go ahead and say that was not there yet. So what we would want to do is we would want to find it within our list here. In this case, it's alphabetical, so it's easy to find. You're going to go ahead and select Employee Management and grant the module to the manager. Once you ensure that that module is currently granted to the manager role, you're going to want to go ahead and click Configure. And then for this example, we'll go ahead and select Paycheck. And similar to our original one, in this case, we want to make sure that this employee user under the Manage role is not able to see paychecks or pay rates and salaries. So we're going to select that paycheck, and then we're going to make sure that that pay rates and salaries is selected. And then once you go into the drop-down menu, let's just say, for example, this manager is able to make the changes, but it does need to be approved by Jane. So again, we'll use Lindsay as our example. Lindsay's our manager, and she's making a change to one of our other employees, John. John is going to be changing his rates and salaries. He's not aware of it, so he'll be in for a great surprise when that happens. What we're going to do is we're going to want to make sure that our approval type is selected. Currently, there are going to be some default approval types within the system. The none is going to be the default for all areas, unless otherwise noted. So what we're going to do is we're going to either want to notify only, which again, will send the email to the administrator, or in this case, the manager, or we're going to set up an approval template. It's currently not assigned, so we're going to want to make it. What we'll do is we'll come up to this top section where it says approval template not yet assigned. We're going to want to press change. And then once we click change, it's going to open up another drop-down menu. Again, there are some default ones that have already been created, especially within sample companies on our end. And what we're going to do is, for the sake of this scenario, we're going to create a new one. Let's just say this particular manager just needs approval from her department. So that would be the administrator user. We're going to go ahead and select Add New, and you're going to see a new menu open up to you. You're going to be able to customize who exactly within your tier is able to approve and in what order they're able to approve. Our first thing is always going to be naming it. So in this case, because we're changing rates and salaries, we can name it Rates and Salaries. A good rule of thumb is if the name is not too condensed, you can always just copy and paste it into the description. Or if you wanted a more detailed description, you can also change the name there. For this case, we're going to go ahead and set the approval so that it's listing rates and salaries. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a name and description, which we've just done. And then we're going to want to add Jane in particular, because remember, Lindsay does need approval by Jane. So we're going to go down to Add Employee, and we're going to do it very similar to when we did it when we were restricting the view, but in this case, we're assigning them a template of approval. We're going to go ahead and select Jane, and you'll notice she drops up in the top box here. If there were other employees that you needed to have approval, we'll just say in this case, John or James. We'll go ahead and select James as well. On the off chance maybe Jane is out and it can do the approval, we can also remove Jane and leave James in place. However, if you were wanting it to have multi-level, you're going to want to make sure that more than one person is there, or more than one department or role. and you can select in order. So now it will take to James to be approved first, and then once James approves, Jane can approve. Once you're done with this and you see at least one name or one role in this field, and the names are in place as well as the description, you're going to want to select Save. This does not automatically assign it as the approval template, just so you're aware. You do have one more step to take. Now that you've selected that and saved it as a change, you're going to want to go ahead and select Approval Template, and you'll notice once again it's not quite there yet. So what we do now that you've saved it is we're going to select Change one more time, and from there we're going to go ahead and select the new template that we just created. We're going to select Rates and Salaries. We're going to check it one more time and then save and assign. Once you save and assign it, it's going to be able to drop down to your approval type for you to select. Not in this main level, but within the level. You'll be able to see it. For example, the approval template that we've chosen is going to be Rates and Salaries. So just so you're aware, anytime you change one level within the system, you're going to want to change it completely within the level. So you can do this by selecting them individually, just so that you're sure that they're all selected. And you can also select it by the main approval type on the header. And you'll notice that they all change over. Oftentimes companies are fine with choosing it from the main header. Sometimes they want to be a little bit more comfortable and select it individually, and that's completely up to you. Once it is changed, you'll notice that it's there, but it currently has a red marker, and that's just giving you a little warning that it hasn't been completely saved yet. So you're going to want to go ahead and click Save Changes, and you'll notice those warnings disappear the same way they do in your approval on your payroll.